Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is episode 41 of High Street Sports. My name is Chris. This is John Ross. We are in the thick of the NFL playoffs. Last week, saw some shocking results, I guess you could say. But, the Texans, first and foremost, just absolutely dominated the Browns from about the second quarter on. CJ Stroud looked incredible. The Texans defense looked incredible. And they move on to a big showdown this weekend. The Bills take care of business and set up a huge matchup with Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes' first game on the road in the playoffs as a starting quarterback, which is kind of a incredible stat in and of itself. Bills players seem to be pretty jacked up for that one. A whole slate of games this weekend, 2 today, 2 tomorrow, today being Saturday, January 20th. John Ross, what's going on, man? How you doing? What are you looking forward to in this next weekend of games?
What's up, buddy? Good morning to everybody. Like you said, we're in the thick of the NFL playoffs. You and I are in the thick of the winter weather right now. I'm all bundled up over here. It's very cold. But yeah, got some NFL football divisional matchups on the slate today. Keep us warm during this fine weekend. Yeah, a lot of interesting games last week. For the most part, the chalk got the wins last week, but you had some upsets like the Texans dominating, like you said, the Browns just pretty much from start to finish. Very surprising there to see the Browns defense give up. What was it? They gave up 45 points?
Yeah, an unbelievable amount of yards. I mean, it just kind of I can't remember who exactly said it, but they said it best. Like they picked the worst time to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you can't take away what the Texans were able to do. I mean, that defense absolutely dominated the Browns' offensive line. Joe Flacco didn't really have much time to do anything with the ball. So I mean, it was just an all around dominance from the Texans in that one.
Yeah, and then the biggest upset of the week, you had the Packers going into Jerry World and beating the number 2 seed NFC East champions Cowboys. I said it last week. You and I both picked the Cowboys, but I said it for we were at the next game. It would not surprise me if the Cowboys cowboyed, and the Cowboys did in fact cowboy. Dak was bad. The defense was bad. Those garbage time stats to make it a respectable score don't mean anything. The Packers dominated this game from start to finish, racing out to a 27-0 lead off a pick six and off 2 interceptions of Dak, one being a pick six. So yeah, good for Green Bay. Jordan Love keeps looking really well. You've been saying it the past month. The Packers are hot. They're riding momentum right now. Jordan Love, what a great time to be a Packers fan, man. They've had going on 20 plus years where not. I mean, I know it's too early in his career, but they look like they could be going on 20 straight years of like not having to find a new franchise quarterback. Like that's
not having any drop off at the position either. Like that.
That's
I think,
clean living for an NFL fan right there. Not have.
Man, I'm telling you.
Like, look at the Panthers. Look at. I mean, I know they got Deshaun Watson, but now look at the Browns. Like some teams spend years and years trying to find a quarterback to right the ship for their team and get them going in the right direction. The Packers have really not have any fall off in that position. So yeah, good for them. They got another tough matchup this week, having to go to the number 1 seed 49ers, see if they can slay that dragon and keep their momentum going to the NFC Championship game next week. But yeah, and then great game last week with the Lions and Rams. I know we both picked the Rams and looked like they could pull it out there at the end, but the Lions got a resilient win in Detroit. That place was rocking too. Surprisingly, they have the most expensive ticket for any playoff game. First time.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, good for them. I mean,
it was a rocking building. And
yeah, that place is electric.
Before we move on from the Rams, man, like I don't know how long Matt Stafford's going to be there. Like I haven't really taken too much time to look into his situation or what he's thinking about, for his future or whatever the case is. I know they're probably going to have some important decisions coming from maybe like an Aaron Donald or somebody like that, on retirement. I know he's kind of toyed with that decision for the last probably 3 or 4 years, but Puka Nacua, man, like that
beast.
Whoever you get at quarterback is going to be set for a while if you can keep Puka Nacua around.
And you get Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, that I mean, dude, for a rookie, like Puka is unreal.
From the Big Island.
Yeah, dude, that was nuts. I mean, hats off to Puka for what is going to be probably I mean, not probably, but it was an incredible rookie season. So
yeah, 180 plus yards?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's a beast. 5th round pick.
Unreal.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the Chiefs got it done in the tundra of Kansas City against the Dolphins. I think I saw where 50-plus people have had to go to the hospital since that game for some symptoms of hypothermia. Probably that
Jeez.
nut job Dolphins fan who took his shirt off.
And all the other Kansas City fans without a shirt on. I mean,
and
dude,
negative 30-degree wind chill.
listen, I get it. Like, do what you got to do, but you would not catch me dead without several layers in that weather, let alone with my
Yeah.
nipples out, which is a
Oh,
wild move.
yeah. You would have to chug every beer too. Because
Yeah, I mean, they were all frozen within 5 minutes of opening
yeah,
the damn thing up.
yeah. And
It was
then
cooler in the refrigerator that the beer was kept in by
yeah,
a lot.
yeah. Yeah, and then Buffalo got the dub last week in their snowy conditions. That was a cool scene, though. Like, I
Yeah.
know they had to push it back a day, but I thought it was cool how the NFL and the Bills said, I don't care what your ticket says, find somewhere to sit, move the snow, you can sit wherever you want. And every time they scored, they throw the snow in the air.
Oh, it was awesome. That first
the, pic-
touchdown for the Bills was incredible.
the pictures of, I love the tweet someone put about the pictures of them, like these drunk dudes laying in the snow. And someone said they look like the seafood section at the supermarket.
Like the
But
crab legs.
But yeah, Bills Mafia showed out as they always do. I'm sure jumping through a
Mhm.
flaming table might not have been a bad idea, as cold as it was that day.
Hey,
But yeah, and then setting us up for what's arguably the best quarterback rivalry, maybe the new Brady versus Manning in Mahomes versus Allen this week. Like you said, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs' first road playoff game in some time, going to Buffalo. Bills Mafia is going to be out in force. That's the Sunday night game, Sunday evening game. So you know they're going to be fired up for that. Probably going to be
Mhm.
if there's snow, they're going to be throwing snowballs at whatever suite Taylor Swift is sitting in. So yeah, I'm really excited for that one. But yeah, lots of good first week of wild card action. Excited to get into the divisional round. And if you don't have anything else, we could talk about records. I got 2 games right last week.
I don't honestly.
I
Bad
got
host,
Bills and
L
Chiefs
host,
right.
L
Everything
host.
else I
But
got wrong.
I know I got the for the Browns for starters. I know I got that one wrong.
I think you got 3
Lions
because you picked the
predicted.
Bucks and I picked
I
the
did pick the
Eagles.
Bucks. Hey,
Just
listen, man.
because,
I'll hold off on that conversation until we get to that game. But yes,
yeah,
I had a good feeling about the Bucks, awful feeling about the Eagles, and that
they
one,
look
that
really good.
situation. Before we move on to the games this week, another shout out I think is in order. Jason Kelsey, shout out to you on a great career. That was incredible to watch. Obviously with the New Heights podcast with him and Trav, like you get like a lot more of a kind of look into their personalities and their relationship as brothers, and it's kind of cool to watch how Travis supports Jason, and he was getting emotional talking about his future and stuff like that, and Travis was just kind of there to be there for him and understands what goes into it, and yeah, cool to watch. So, but the Eagles, man, you got a lot to figure out this offseason, a lot to figure out. That
Coaching and players wise.
yeah, absolutely, because that
Shout
defense
out
looked like
to
garbage the last 2
shout out
months.
to Jason Kelsey's favorite McDonald's employee too. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that one.
The McDonald's Jason Kelsey goes to all the time. His favorite employee, he went the drive-through. He went through the day after the loss. He gave her a signed jersey.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Can you
Class
imagine
act,
that?
man.
Saying I'm Jason Kelsey's favorite McDonald's employee? Like, I wouldn't believe anybody if they told me that. Like,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
okay.
either, but I would put it in my Twitter bio for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah. If you don't have anything else, we can jump in right to the divisional round this game,
Let's do it.
and we'll start with the game this afternoon at 4:30 on ESPN. The upstart Houston Texans going to Baltimore to play the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens coming off their bye. Baltimore's favored -9.5. We talked about the Texans last week. They dominated both sides of the ball against the Browns, dominated a very good Cleveland Browns defense. And the Ravens, because I was saying they were off last week, they've had a chance to get some guys back. Kyle Hamilton will be back at safety this week. They're all pro safety. Mark Andrews looked like he could come back this week. He was listed questionable. He was a full participant Wednesday and Thursday in practice, but they have ruled him out. I think they want to, if they win, I think they want to try to give him one more week to get fully ready to go for a potential AFC Championship game next week. Marlon Humphrey will be out with a calf injury. A little bit more serious than they thought it was. The injury he got, I think, second to last week of the season. So they will be without their arguably number one corner. Texans, no really notable injuries. But yeah, Baltimore's favored minus 9.5 in this one. I'll start with my pick. I am going to pick the Ravens. I did pick them beginning of the season to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. My other pick is out now, so I guess I will say I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl now. Like Chris has said, I mean, Lamar is probably going to be the MVP this year, but he does need to show up in the playoffs. He hasn't really done a good track record there. I think today's the day he does it. They're all playing. The whole team is just playing. They're all one unit right now. The defense is playing great. I know they're missing Marlon Humphrey today, but Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, that defensive line, that front seven, I think they're gonna. I do think C.J. Stroud will get some stats today, but I do think that defense will come up with a timely turnover on him. And the offense, Zay Flowers, Odell, Isaiah Likely, that stable of running backs, and obviously Lamar, who's probably going to be the MVP. I think they get the win today. I'm going to go 28-20 Baltimore. And that place, M&T Bank Stadium, will be rocking too. That place is electric in the playoffs.
Yeah, it is a tough place to play, especially in January. It'll probably, I mean, obviously be cold up there. I mean, everything in the Northeast is chilly.
I'll be right back with our weather report.
But I mean, I really, really like what the Texans have been able to do, and they're missing, Tank Dell, obviously, which is a big piece for them. But with the way that, C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins have been able to get a, really good connection over the year, and they put that on display last week and, really torched Cleveland secondary. I can't help but think about what you mentioned earlier about, kind of my feelings about Lamar. He is a great player, great athlete. I don't know if, like I said, if the Ravens have to throw the ball to win the game, which I think they might have to do today. I don't know if that's a capability of his. And, that's no knock on his talent necessarily, but it's just something that he hasn't shown yet. And, I hit on my High Street Sports upset pick of the week last week, and I'm going to do it again this week, hopefully, and I'm going to pick the Texans to win this one. I really like the momentum, and I think there is something to be said. Like, obviously, like having the number one seed and having home field throughout the playoffs and until the Super Bowl is very valuable. But I also think there is something to be said for momentum in the way that, having that bye week can kind of disrupt the momentum that you have. Obviously, it's good to get, injured players some rest and get people healthy and get people back on the field. However, the Texans are running through some really good ball right now. And coming off the heels of a big win last week, they might have a little bit of an emotional dump. But I think they're in good hands with C.J. Stroud, man. Like, he's answered the questions all the right ways. He was on McAfee's show before the playoffs started and, basically said that he likes it when people doubt him. And that's something that he showed at Ohio State, and that's something that he's continuing to show in the NFL. And he's not going to back down from any challenge. And what bigger challenge to have in front of you in this round than the Ravens defense? So it's going to hinge upon can the Texans do as good of a job keeping him on his feet like they did last week? And if they do that, give CJ the ability to make his reads and get the ball downfield and maybe use his legs if he needs to. I like the Texans' chances in this one, but it all hinges on the fact that, if the Texans can reproduce the performance that they had last week, I'm going to give them a chance in this one. And I will pick the Texans 27 to the Ravens 24. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think, there's magic in the Texans right now, and I think they'll be able to pull out a close one. So I'm picking.
I did say it's going to be 23 degrees about the kickoff time.
That is
26 mile an hour winds.
Okay.
And if this comes down to kicking, I'm taking Justin Tucker.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Kai Fairbairn is not a bad choice, though.
Yeah. I will have a counterpoint to your thing about Lamar. I know he hasn't shown it in the playoffs, but when people say he can't really throw the ball, I mean, I think a lot of people confuse him not being able to throw the ball with him not throwing the ball a lot. Like, you look at when they beat the shit out of the Dolphins a few weeks ago, he threw the ball 21 times. He completed 18 of those for 300+ yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's fine by me. I don't care how many times you throw the ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Lamar does have a really good arm and good touch. I guess I'm just a fan of his, so I'm going to defend him right here.
And I'm a fan of Lamar too. Like, I don't want that to get lost in translation.
This is the best group of receivers he's ever had. Like, up until this point, I really think I would say all he had of note was Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
They drafted Rashad Perryman a few years ago to try and help him. That didn't work. He's had Rashad Bateman, but I don't consider Rashad Bateman a number one option. He's got Zay Flowers now. Odell's not what he used to be, but Odell can get you a timely catch here and there. And I just think that's stable of running backs, and plus, I know the Texans were able to blow up the Browns' offensive line last week. There's a big difference in the rushing ability of Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson. Lamar,
100%.
If Lamar can escape the pocket and get scooting, that's another dimension the Texans are going to have to account for. But yeah, I think it should be a good game. Like I said, we both picked kind of close games, but yeah, I'm going to roll with the chalk in this one. Be interested to see this one, the rookie versus the likely MVP this year.
Will Anderson is going to have a huge game. Like that's no, like if Lamar is going to escape the pocket, like Will Anderson is going to have to be there to make those tackles. And if they miss tackles and let Lamar get loose, like it's going to be a long day for the Texans. So, I'm kind of basing this pick on the way that they performed last week. And again, like the factors are way different. Like you mentioned, like Lamar and Joe Flacco are not even comparable at this point. And obviously one is a huge threat with the legs and the other is not. So, I mean, it should be an exciting game. So,
I may be the only one of the few who's noticed this. It doesn't seem like Lamar is really relying too much on his leg. Like he runs when he needs to. Compared to his the year he won the MVP, where if his first read wasn't there, he's taken off. Now he's waiting back there, he's eluding pressure, and he's waiting to see if someone can get open, and only running when he feels like he absolutely has no choice.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah,
now's the time. Put it together in the playoffs.
Yeah, that place will be rocking today. Very cold weather. I know those crazy bastards in Baltimore won't care how cold it is. They can get down. That's our AFC wildcard game for today. Next, we got the other NFC wildcard game, the Packers upsetting the Cowboys last week, traveling to San Fran to play the number one seed 49ers. It's tonight, 8:15 on Fox. San Francisco is favored by 10 in this one. No really notable injuries on either side. The 49ers have gotten a chance to get healthy. I know Christian McCaffrey hasn't played since week 16. I know Debo hasn't played in a while. George Kittle hasn't played in a while, so they're all resting up, getting healthy. I do think this one will be closer than people think. I do think the Niners defense is better than the Cowboys defense. But I will pick the Niners, and I go 33-21. I think this will be a close one for the majority of it, though, and the Niners will pull away at the end. I'm not a believer in Brock Purdy. I know he's had a good year, but I think he's very well insulated. I mean, credit to him. He does what he needs to do. Screens and crossers. I mean, that's clean living if you got the playmakers he has. But the Packers defense has stepped up after not being that good in the regular season. Jordan Love and Aaron Jones, they're playing really well. I do think the defense will get a timely turnover on Jordan Love and the Packers offense. So, I will take the Niners, but I do think this will be a pretty good game up until maybe the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think so too. And you look back at some of the other classic games that the 49ers and Packers have had in the playoffs, and I think this could be one of them. It's going to hinge upon what can Green Bay's front seven do to stop Christian McCaffrey and if they can pick up on those crossers and the short stuff that Brock Purdy and the Niners like to do. But I mean, there's also that big playability with Deebo Samuel that you have to look out for too. So I assume that Jair Alexander will stick on to Deebo Samuel and we'll see who gets the best of that matchup. But for me, I think the key here is what can Aaron Jones give this offense, and I think if Aaron Jones can have a good game and
if he does what he did last week, they stand a good chance.
Yeah, absolutely. But on the opposite side of that, you had Micah Parsons to deal with last week, but now you have Nick Bosa and Chase Young to deal with this week, plus the rest of that vaunted front seven for the Niners. So I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle for Jordan Love and company, but I will tend to agree with you on this one. I would like to see the Packers win, but I just don't think that they have enough. Those young receivers are going to really be tested, and they're going to have to make some plays. And again, like a first-year starter, Jordan Love, going into a for all intents and purposes, a pretty tough environment out there in San Francisco too. So I think I'll take the 49ers too in this one. I do think it'll be close, like you mentioned, for the majority of the game. I think, the second half, I think the 49ers defense is probably going to wear on the Packers offense just a little bit too much. I think, in the second half, they'll get to Jordan Love a little bit and get some sacks and really make things uncomfortable and put the game out of reach. I'll go I think San Francisco's offense can score a lot. So, I mean, I'll go, you said 31-20. I'll go 35, 21 San Francisco.
All right. Then next up, Sunday's games, in other NFC divisional matchup, the Buccaneers traveling to Detroit to play the Lions Sunday at 3 on NBC. Detroit favored by 6 in that one, and their average ticket price for this game is around $1,100.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's
so
like
that
Super
place,
Bowl prices.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a very big stadium. It does get loud. That place will be rocking for this. Baker and the Bucs looked good last week. They played a discombobulated Eagles team, but they did what they were supposed to do on both sides of the ball. Baker had, I think, 3 touchdowns in that game. They look really, really good. Baker's having a career resurgence down there in Tampa Bay. And the Lions, they're doing what Jared Goff, another career resurgence with them. He's playing really well, beat his old team last week. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta was surprisingly able to play last week. Seems like Jared Goff's safety blanket. Josh Reynolds had a big game against his old team. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery did a good job running the ball. The defense played well, got some stops when it had to. But yeah, Lions favored by 6 in this one. I will go with Detroit being at home in this one. I think this will be another close game like they had last week against the Rams, and I'll go Detroit 27-23.
Yeah, and I think one thing that people are kind of looking over, albeit I fell victim to it a little bit too, and it's the closer games that the Lions have had, like the defenses kind of look shaky at some points in the season, and but I mean that team knows how to win games, and Dan Campbell is putting them in a good position to win games, and Jared Goff is doing exactly what he needs to do for them to win those games. So like we mentioned in the open, the Rams looked like they had a chance to march down the field and win it, but just couldn't make enough plays to do so. So I think, as you mentioned, man, that place does get loud. It's a passionate fan base, and they've been hungry for a long time. It's another one of those teams that has been looking for some success and hasn't tasted that in a very long time. So, I think it'll be a rocking crowd, obviously, with the ticket prices being what they are.
That was the first playoff game they won in both of our lifetimes,
which is nuts. And, and the ticket prices reflect the excitement that's going to be in that building. And it is a dome, for those that don't know, especially that reporter that asked about the weather in Detroit and how that will play a factor in the game. I don't know if you saw that, but that was funny. So it is going to be a loud building, raucous crowd. I don't know if Baker will be able to do enough, but we'll see. I will pick the Lions in this one as well. I will go. I don't know if that might be another game that's kind of close through the first 3 quarters, but maybe pull away in the fourth. But I do think it could be a little bit of a low-scoring game.
Oh, yeah, I went 27-23. I think it'll be close to the very end.
Yeah, I'm going to go 23-20 Lions.
All right. And there's one more thing I was going to say. Oh, yeah. I think it's peak karma for the NFL and the Cowboys that that bullshit call a few weeks ago where Taylor Decker apparently didn't report that the Cowboys lost, and the Lions don't have to go back to Dallas this week. So, ball don't lie.
Nicely, Roger.
Never has, never will. And then our last game of the week, last AFC divisional matchup, probably the biggest game of the weekend, Mahomes versus Allen. What is this, part 3 in the playoffs?
Yes.
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 And then, you got the Chiefs traveling to Buffalo to play Bills Sunday evening, 6:30 on CBS. Both teams coming off wins in frigid conditions last week. I think Josh Allen's beaten Mahomes a few times in the regular season. Mahomes is undefeated against Allen, 2-0 in the playoffs. Going back to the last time they played when the overtime rules got changed, when Josh Allen didn't even get to touch the ball in overtime. But yeah, I'm expecting another close one this week. I'm going to go with the Bills at home. I think that home crowd will be fired up for this one. It's almost kind of a rivalry game between both teams. The Chiefs defense is playing really well. They finished number 2 in scoring at the end of the regular season. Buffalo's defense is playing well too. They are dealing with some injuries, but Josh Allen is playing.
Dog.
He's playing the best. I think he's playing the best he's ever played right now. He's got better weapons than Mahomes does, as shocking as that is right now. So I'm going to go with Buffalo and the Mafia. Give me Bills 23, Chiefs 20.
Yeah, I like the Bills in this one too, especially with this time being in Buffalo. Obviously, the Chiefs, as we talked about a while ago, no stranger to playing in the cold, but it's going to be different on the road, not in their house, with the crowd against them this time. And we mentioned it again, the Bills Mafia, crazy bunch of fuckers up there.
And they're going to have all day.
And they're going to have all day to get ready. And it's going to be an exciting one. And I tend to side with you in the fact that Josh Allen's weapons are better than Pat Mahomes' weapons. We've seen the issue that has been drops for the receivers in Kansas City. So, especially timely drops for those receivers in Kansas City. So we'll see how Kadarius Toney can screw this one up.
I don't think he's playing. I think he's hurt.
Yeah, well, he'll find a way.
He seems to have found Mahomes seems to have found a favorite target in Rashee Rice. He had a good game last week because Kelsey really hasn't been playing that well. Yeah, we'll just have to see. I mean, I'll take Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, and Stephon Diggs over what Mahomes has.
Absolutely. Yep.
And James Cook.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Josh Allen is a dog, and obviously Patrick Mahomes is what Patrick Mahomes is. Everybody knows how good he is. Everybody knows how good of a coach Andy Reid is, but there's, I think it's time for Bills Mafia and Sean McDermott and Josh Allen to get one done, and I think they will do that at home.
They are 6-0 since it came to light that McDermott's a terrorist.
Men lie, women lie. Ball don't. So in that case, I will go ahead and pick the Bills in this one as well. I think it'll be 28-20. I think the Bills will get maybe a big pass, big play from Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen will do everything short of cut off his throwing arm to get the Bills a Super Bowl. So, the Chiefs stand in the way of this one, and I think Josh Allen and the Bills will get this one done at home.
All right. So, yeah, I went with chalk. You went with mostly chalk, except for the one upset being Houston. So, yeah, excited to see how these 4 games pan out this weekend. But, yeah, sad that football is officially almost over, all of it, but we still got a lot of time for then, some great games on the horizon. So, yeah, excited about this weekend.
Yeah, it should be a very good weekend of football. A lot of stuff happening in the NFL. It will continue to keep going on through the duration of the playoffs. Guys, again, like we tell you this after every episode and sometimes before, thank you guys so much for the support over the last 4 or 5 months of us doing this. We started this really with no expectation, and here we are sitting again close to our goal of 100 subscribers before the end of the season, which is a small number, but you got to cross it at some point to get to where you want to go. So again,
small
we appreciate everybody.
We
appreciate everybody for coming in each week to listen to us babble about sports and our opinions and the great game of football. And like I said, we will, once the NFL season completes itself and we move away from football, we will have other stuff coming for you: hockey, basketball, both NBA and college hoops potentially. So again, we appreciate everybody and your support and subscribing and sharing, likes, comments, all that kind of stuff. Keep doing all that. We still have not reached our goal of 100 subs, so go ahead and hit that button. It's free to you. If you get tired of seeing our faces. We are still at 87. So
lucky
you guys
number 13. That's all we need.
You guys have a little bit of work to do, but again, just go ahead and hit that sub button. Even if you don't watch us and you just leave us there, just hit the sub button. It'll help us out a lot. We'll appreciate it any way we can get it. So thank you guys again. This is going to be a very, very fun week of football. It's cold in much of the country. I think the weather that I saw yesterday said that 55% of the United States is now covered in snow, which is kind of crazy. Shout out Mother Nature for leaving Greensboro, North Carolina out of that equation. But it's going to be a fun weekend of football. Grab some good food, stay inside. It's warm. Put on some football. Listen to us if you like. So we appreciate you guys. John Ross, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
It's cold.
It is cold. That is groundbreaking news. Thank you guys for coming back. This has been episode 41 of High Street Sports. For John Ross, I am Chris. We will see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.